bloopers.
Yeah.
That
you should
would
do
be
the bloopers.
so funny.
That'd be so funny.
That would be really funny.
Yes, I'd watch that.
Like when Bennie starts barking in the middle of it like crazy.
And it totally negates what we've all been talking about, how awesome he is.
That would be hilarious.
So much more obedient. We got Bennie for Christmas, and so it was winter, and then that led into quarantine period. So overall, lack of socialization. This is my first dog. Carson's had dogs growing up. I felt very unprepared, kind of like you don't know what you don't know. And then we got him, and I definitely felt like I didn't know what I was doing, even with a lot of the research, Carson's help. It got to the point for me up until we did the training with you where it was just unmanageable, and I was almost ready to rehome. Not that I wanted to, but it was to that point of stress for me where I felt like I couldn't do it. Not necessarily that Bennie couldn't do it, but that I couldn't handle the situation.
Right.
And Bennie definitely had his own issues that we needed to work through. I just didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
But my worry was that it wouldn't get better, and that we were just setting ourselves up for failure if we didn't get help sooner than just waiting to see if it would resolve itself.
No, that's true. And I think if I was to describe it, it's just undisciplined. Bennie was just kind of in all aspects, whether it's, the crate or being out on a walk, no crate, sleeping with us, all these different stuff. But I think the best description of Bennie's life, unstructured, undisciplined.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I might be biased. I think he's pretty cute, and that's kind of a double-edged sword because when we'd go out, he's barking at everyone. He would pull on his leash. Obviously,
constant barking at the door. Any noise. We couldn't have
people over really because it was so as an example, my mom came over one time and literally for 40 minutes he barked at her.
Oh my gosh.
And growled.
You didn't tell me that.
And it was
I think we forgot.
I think we did too. It was
we erased it from our memories.
It was holy cow. And yeah, it was. And
40 minutes.
And
we just didn't know how to handle the situation.
Well, and she would try to feed him treats, and it just nothing was really helping. She actually brought her dog in, and then he loved her, and then he's fine. But I just think that kind of goes to the undisciplined. He just now he's I'm out of here. But yeah, it was just kind of things like that, and
even inside, I just felt like we didn't have structure for him, and he had no rules, and it felt like he pushed hard enough where it was just
okay, fine.
Do
what you want to do.
Yeah, and I will say, even with all of this stuff kind of being quarantine and stuff, you'd think it would be better, but it's almost worse because we're home with him all the time, and so we have to deal with it all the time, and it almost got to the point where it was just I just don't want to deal with it,
break.
Yeah, exactly. There was no break, kind of never got away, and it was just I know I should, be doing this and this and this, but I'm kind of tired of it. And I think little things like that over time kind of grew into a bigger problem.
He rules our world, and we don't have any say in how our house runs. That's kind of how it felt. It felt out of control.
Yeah, we had another trainer that we had for a couple sessions, and it was perfectly fine. But it's just very clear that after the session there just wasn't really a difference in behavior. We were doing these things that just weren't working very well, and that was part of I think what led especially to her feeling of hopelessness kind of with Bennie is just it's not working. It's okay, well, these things that she's asking us to do, it just wasn't working. Really. Yeah,
and also not really feeling like I didn't get the analysis of Bennie of I got tips of what to do, but it's but what is he like? I want more observation of where is he at, and not just you could try this and that should improve. I needed to understand who Bennie was and where he was at as a dog at that time.
What type of dog did we realize he was?
Very insecure. Very insecure.
Also introvert.
He's
also
introvert. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's not your happy-go-lucky golden retriever or
Yeah.
other golden doodles.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
kind of had challenges and still
Probably more
does
poodle.
as itself because
Yeah.
people, because he's so cute,
is so
think
cute,
they can just
people.
come up and they can pet him, that he will be welcoming, and that's not where he was at.
No.
And so that was hard too,
Right.
because everyone wants to see him like, no, like he is not ready for that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe if we had a different looking dog that would attract less attention, it wouldn't be
It's
as much
true.
of a problem. But
That would be true.
Right now?
We absolutely can. We've had a lot of people over, and it's been great. He's transitioning from putting him in the crate at the start, and then progressively, you know,
To the
working him
crate.
to the cot and
The
everything
cot.
like that. Exactly, the staircase.
mhm.
It's been really good, and he's taken to it fairly well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's almost been kind of fun to see, you know, like in like 30 seconds he'll calm down versus like 40 minutes, which is
Yeah.
absurd. Yeah, it's kind of absurd.
Yeah, it's funny. I
Wow.
forgot. I can't believe we didn't mention that. 'Cause
That,
that's
that,
kind
that
of
must
that's
have
big.
left a huge mark on your brains to totally forget about
It's
that.
like
Yeah, we were just like,
I'm not looking at that.
and to be fair, that was like the most extreme scenario. We had other
But-
ones that was like 10,
Oh,
15
better.
minutes,
Right.
but that still
it's so
was
much
that
quicker.
it happened.
Like by the end of the night, I had a friend he'd never met before. She came over. Carson was gone, which also
Mm-hmm.
makes him feel weird. And by the end of the night, he was snuggling with her and was excited and like wanted her to be there. So
Yeah.
that was. I feel like that's been a huge difference. Overall, it just feels like our lives are kind of becoming more in order. It's like, oh, I have a say in how things go.
You
and
have
this,
a life now.
oh yeah, I have
Yeah.
a life, and this dog isn't running my life.
Yeah,
It's
and
gotten a lot better.
yeah, and like as an example, the first friend that I had over after that lesson, he barked once
That's
in
awesome.
his crate, and it worked really well.
And also
But
being okay with like he doesn't, and it's gotten better. He's gotten more friendly, wants to be friends. But initially, kind of recognizing progress and that he doesn't need to be best friends with them. He just needs to be quiet
Yeah.
and keep his space if he needs it.
mhm.
But just letting us do what we're gonna do, and he can
Oh
just
yeah,
He can
be
observe.
quiet.
He can observe, but he does not have a say in how it goes.
And if
Yeah,
he wants
exactly.
space, he can have it.
But that's been a huge thing too, because we could hardly get him in his crate ever without just an absolute meltdown.
Tell them about the first time we tried to get him on place.
Oh my gosh,
How long was that freaking lesson?
that was like an
Almost the
full
whole,
hour.
almost the whole lesson, just trying to get
I didn't
him
think he
onto
would.
it.
I didn't
yeah.
think he would that session, and then right near the end, we finally got him on it.
And now what does he do?
Oh, he runs as soon as, because I feed him on the plate on the cot.
And we can stay placed, and he just runs to
Oh yeah,
it
he'll
now.
run to
He's
it.
totally
I even
fine.
break out his food bowl and he'll sprint to it. If he gets scared, he'll sit on it. So I feel like it's become
Yeah.
his spot.
It is a safe spot.
Mhm.
Totally.
He likes it.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
he likes it. And even when we leave now, like before, so I would just say like he's actually becoming disciplined in all aspects, and I think the cot is representative of that.
Mm-hmm.
But like even when we leave now, we used to have his crate kind of attached to a little area, and that was the only way that we could really leave.
Him alone. We
Him
wouldn't
alone, and
leave
even
him
then
alone
when we
in the
left,
crate.
we'd have to leave like a big treat to distract him, or he'd just go crazy right when we left.
Yeah.
Now we can just put him in his crate, we leave, and he won't go crazy, and he stays in his crate,
Even without
a distraction or anything like
Correct me if
that.
I'm wrong, but did you guys ever have any issues with your neighbors worried about him barking?
Our
We-
downstairs neighbors have complained.
Mhm.
Not recently, but when we first got him, quite a bit, and that's kind of why we struggled with crate training.
That's what-
because
that
I
wa-
felt like we couldn't.
And I think that was kind of like the first straw that led to kind of the undiscipline, because we tried really hard to crate train
Right.
immediately,
Didn't work.
and it was
And
just
the
like
neighbors, and it was
the
just like,
neighbors
well,
complained, and so the office called us, and we were just like,
the
oh
banging
my
on
goodness,
the ceiling.
yeah.
Like, well, maybe
And it
we
was like-
can't right now.
So we kind of just,
which I
uh,
regret, but
Yeah.
You
we're
gotta do what you gotta do
learning
in that
now.
moment, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Mhm.
If you're gonna be evicted because your dog is barking and your neighbors are,
It's like, well,
well, okay.
Yeah, and so it's been manageable, and just I think like even the discipline and being outside, not barking at people, and kind of the things we've worked on, that and just in general has allowed him to be able to do this without kind of having that whole period of like craziness, you know?
So would you say that discipline has led to more freedom?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And he's happier.
Totally. He's way happier.
He's way happier.
He's
We're
more
all
confident.
happy.
Yeah.
Rules mean
Freedom?
It's true.
Yeah.
On the cot training episode, lesson, you know,
We've been
yeah.
watching too much Netflix.
Too much Netflix quarantine. But during that lesson, you said something about like him, you know, part of the reason why he was so scared to get on is because he just didn't think he could, like he was so insecure and he didn't.
No confidence.
Yeah.
I've noticed since then I've kind of tried to identify that in different aspects, and even like when we go on a car ride, he would always like jump up on me to want him to put him in the car, and so now I've been more adamant about like, hey, you do it, and I just think like in all aspects, the discipline teaches him that he can be confident in himself and like in scenarios like that. And it's pretty evident, to be honest, to see in different aspects that he's definitely more confident now. And I think that kind of goes from discipline. But
like when we push him, that it's okay. Like he can do it. To trust himself and to trust us that we can handle the situation. I mean, this is even a small example, but I feel like we have noticed it more and more in all areas. But like for instance, sprinklers, he used to be terrified of. But I felt like he would love it if he would just give it a chance. And so we kind of pushed him to run through it. My parents have like a little water system that my niece plays with at their house. But now he loves it. He'll bite it, he'll smack it, he'll run through it. Yeah. But at first he was really scared. And I feel like just things like that in the past where he wouldn't have dared do it. And we also felt like, I don't know, just feeling a lack of confidence in us pushing him. Now he does, and we do. And so I feel like his confidence has been built. I feel a lot more confident where I used to feel probably the same way Bennie was feeling, really insecure and like I worried about him. I can't do this. I can't train him because it's just as much as like our training as it is his. Absolutely. So I feel like that's been a huge shift. And maybe, I feel like that's been a huge shift for us. And for me, I really needed a person to come and tell us what to do and like that we could do it, because I feel like that's given me a lot more hope. My favorite phrase from training, we cannot compensate for Bennie's lack of effort. Yeah. And
what does that mean to you?
To me, I feel like it's like we need to expect something from him. I can't just work hard for the both of us. I can do what I need to do, but he also needs to show effort and do what he needs to do.
Can't be enablers.
I know.
Enabling the bad behavior.
Because we were.
And you love him, but you're loving him to the point where
to his detriment.
Alcoholic.
Exactly. Yeah.
As we discussed today, he's an addict to the surge of excitement or adrenaline when he barks at people or whatever bad behavior. And I think we can't enable him. We need to kind of break that cycle. Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think that was like one of the best lessons too, because it was so funny because
we had no idea.
Caroline was like saying it, and he was just not paying attention. And then you're like, "Hey, say it like this." No. Immediately, he was like,
it was instantly different.
Instantly different.
I feel like there were some things going into training that we knew we were doing wrong, but that was something that was pretty monumental that we had no idea.
Totally did not.
And it was
like, I'm saying it, I'm doing it, but we weren't saying it the right way. So I feel like a lot of things are just small adjustments that make a huge difference. That was our lives with Bennie. It felt overwhelming and huge, but really there were just a few adjustments we needed to make and are still making to get him to where we want him to be. But he's already made so much progress.
See, the irony in all this is that you're a dog trainer, but you're actually
a people trainer,
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You
so
just educate us on like our own dog, and it's like, oh, like that's maybe why he does that.
I'm a people trainer for dogs.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true.
Or
really,
for humans.
Bennie didn't know it, but he hired you.
It's true. It's true. So I in a few minutes thinking about that question, I think for me, the thing that I appreciated most about the program was, and just kind of like comparing that to the other experiences we had with different trainers, that it was a lot of talking, and like when they would come over and we had a lesson with them. I felt like it was mostly kind of like, let's talk about the things. And when we had a lesson with you, it was very structured. You're like, hey, we're going to work on this. And even though I may have felt kind of uncomfortable sometimes, you made us do it, you know, and you watched us and kind of told us what we're doing wrong and you know, when we did it right. And that was huge because it's like most of the time you're not there, right? And so it's like if we can't like make mistakes in front of you and kind of correct that right away, then it's like we're going to keep doing that, and then it's like how many sessions is it going to take to actually see progress? And so in all those other sessions that we had, I never ever saw a behavioral change from Bennie. It was like theoretical ideas of like, oh, this is what you should do, but then we kind of gave up because it was just like, well, we try it, but we're not seeing anything.
You never took the theory or the hypothesis and put it into the laboratory.
Yeah, and even if when we did put it in there, I don't even know if we were doing it totally right because we never really like got feedback and correction, and you know, it's not like they watched us do it. And so that was kind of the biggest thing that I saw was it was just like, okay, it was very structured. You had a set thing, gave us homework, very hands-on.
Yes,
and then the best part about it, I just loved that you made us do it. You watched us, you corrected us. It was kind of uncomfortable sometimes because I, was messing up a lot or whatever, but it was good.
Absolutely worth it.
Yeah.
For some of the
obviously it's a huge investment in the beginning.
Yeah.
Totally.
But you guys have me for the rest of his life.
Oh yeah. And it's
You call me.
oh yeah, it's worth it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just the kind of like quality of life difference is already worth it.
Yeah.
And it's we're barely done. This is
And
our last lesson.
To your point, like it is for life with you and also with him, like our training is ongoing. And
Totally.
we have seen huge change throughout the course of just our lessons, but I also know like we have more work to do with Bennie, but we
For
have
sure.
the tools now.
Training.
This is our lifestyle.
For life. Yeah.
This isn't just something
This is
we're
kind
doing
of like
now. Like this
the
is
foundation to a lot more.
Right.
Yeah.
No, obviously.
just that we would recommend you.
We already have.
And we
other
already
people,
have.
we talk about you all the time.
Oh yeah,
We have a lot of dog people here, and we talk about you.
Yes.
So
Meeting dog people has been awesome for our social life, and we have some cards, which is great.
this is great.
It's worth it. It's worth every penny. I've loved it. For Bennie, for me, it's just made me a lot more confident and hopeful. It's like, okay, yeah, like I can have a dog. We could have another dog in the future. But we're taking it one step at a time, and it's just been. I mean, it has been life changing.
And for us, like
this year could have gone very differently.
Totally.
Had we not.
And for us, Bennie's like a part of our family. We and it's like
Right?
he is. He's right here. He's not going anywhere. And so it's like kind of interesting. We dedicate so much time to ourselves and education and stuff like that. And so in the grand scheme of things, we hope to have him 8 to 10 years, however long he's with us, but
15.
exactly 15, 18,
Longer.
however long he's gonna live a long time. But the idea is it's a kind of a small investment in the grand scheme of things to make a massive difference.